Good morning. We're here with my dear friend. I'm David Stump, ASC, BVK. I'm here with my good friend John Christian Rosenlund, and we're here to talk about a number of LED techniques, using LED for lighting and using LED for LED wall purposes. The name of the seminar is Good Art is Technique That Makes the Soul Sing. And with that, I'll introduce John Christian. Take it away.
Yeah, I can explain the first picture first, because I think to talk about technique, and it's, for me at least, it can be very, not boring, but kind of why to go very technical can be very nerdy and strange, but the whole reason I'm digging into technique is to try to explain my to dig into a story in a better way, to have tools to tell the story in a better way. So this picture is actually it's me and my friend some weeks ago on a beach. I think I was 15 or 16, and my friend in front, he is actually the guy living in Paris, developing LEDs today. So we started quite early. So that's kind of the reason for this kind of strange title that was maybe too strange, but so I started as an actor, and I'm became a cinematographer. But I'm always wanted to shoot films, so I started quite early with that before my theater career. But I did that for 7 years, and it's been a very good thing for me to learn how to be on the other side of the camera. I think that respect is something very important to take with me, and as a cinematographer in general, to understand the pain and that you are totally undressed in front of a camera is quite important.
I'm just awestruck at the picture of you as a very young boy.
Yeah, it's a very nice period, and it kind of gave me the power to dare to think about something strange as being a cinematographer in a small town, Stavanger, where I'm born. So this is my history. You don't have to read through this, but I started quite early, so as you see, and did documentaries that I think was very important, because that given me the tools to improvise and to be efficient with small tools. I've shot, 53 movies and TV series, so it's some years. And I'm also into the technical part, because I'm founder of a company called DryLab, based on metadata and dailies, and then Soft Lights, that's doing lights in Paris. Remotion, the first pan bar system ever made, and also I'm co-founder of the Imago Technical Committee. So that's kind of the core of what I'm trying to say, that all my ideas of technique comes from telling a story. And that's what we're going to talk about.
Cinematographers have to have that. They have to have that aspect of their character, an interest in technology, because the deeper your interest in technology, the more capability it gives you to tell a story.
I think so too, and it gives me the freedom. It's like jazz, you need to know your guitar before you can improvise. Mm-hmm. And I think that's so. You need to be a brilliant technician, I think, but it should never take over the decisions of movie making.
It's a balance of three parts, I think: artist, business person, and technician.
Yeah, it is very much. Let's dig into the first example, because it's taken from a movie I did 2 years ago, I think, called The Emigrants. And I can show you a little bit from that movie first, because this part is, the whole movie is done with the natural light. And of course, a challenge to do natural light. in a movie like this, it's not friendly for a lot of light. This movie, I see, it's very hard to see the details, but.
Är ni oskadda?
Kolla. Jag stukar foten.
Va? Sluka foten?
Oj, vilken uppståndelse.
Tack herre.
But it's a film from a time where we had no electricity, so everything was lit by
Hjälp av Indien.
flame and oil lamps, paraffin lamps. And
Det var en
to
gåva. Du har låtit dig förledas.
I needed tools to be able to
Jag ska hjälpa dig.
extend that light.
Men hör du inte vad jag säger, Judith? Märta bestämmer själv.
Hon är ett barn.
Ja, det är hon. Och jag är barnets mor.
Hon är villfaren.
Jag är villfaren.
Ja, vi är alla trötta. Men ni ska ha tack allesammans.
Djävulen har tagit din själ. Petrus, säg någonting.
Det är horan. Det är horans fel. Ja. Glada ni juder, alla vet att de springer i dörrarna här.
Ulrika.
Akta er för den fallna kvinnan och inte begär ditt hjärta till hennes
Ulrika var
skönhet.
här. Hon hjälpte mig när jag behövde det. Och vet ni varför? Därför att hon är min vän. Ulrika är min vän.
Petrus.
Och det här, det är mina barn.
Och de får klä sig och bete sig precis som de vill, så länge de har Guds godhet i sina hjärtan.
Hör ni det allihop? Hör ni det?
Kan du få tyst på din kvinna, Nilsson?
Nej, det tror jag faktiskt inte att jag kan.
Det här huset är orent. Det måste renas!
Orent? Är det mitt hus du pratar om? Dra härifrån. Försvinn!
Ja, då fick de allt besked.
So 90% of this movie, 95 I think, maybe 98, is shot in natural light. Following the daylight, building locations based on where the sun comes up and sun goes down. And to be able to do that, I know that I needed some tools, because we had especially one scene on a boat with 20 people in a storm, and oil lamps couldn't work. I mean, it would have been very dangerous. So that's where I started to think, how can I do this without using oil lamps? But I needed light inside, down in the boat, and then started to play with what is available. And the old way to do this would have been, at least for me, the first idea was to use a halogen lamp and to dim it down. But then the battery pack would have last for 10 minutes. And in a modern filmmaking, you can't change battery every 10 minutes on 20 lamps.
Oh my goodness, that would be horrible.
Yeah.
I agree. This is one area where LEDs are revolutionary.
They are. The thing is that, but the strange thing with LEDs, or not strange, but I think for me at least, when I started digging into LEDs many years ago, we got a new source. It was powerful, and it used, as we said, very little power to make a lot of light, but the quality of the light was very bad. Because it's all about it's mathematics. It's about how the source is made, because you can extract parts of lights with LEDs, and just some very few. So you have red, you have green, you have blue, but very few in between. So when it comes to flame, there is a lot of colors in this spectrum. And I didn't find any LED that could give that spectrum that looks nice on the skin tone when you shoot it with a camera, because your eyes can it looks nice on your eyes because your eyes is perfect. They adjust to everything. So even the green light looks white after some seconds, but the camera is dead and it doesn't do that. So then you have a problem. And if you want to change anything in post, you have a bigger problem, because if you light it with something with very limited colors, those limited colors will stay on your skin, and then you can't repair it.
If you light it with a source that is missing spectrum,
Exactly.
when the spectrum is missing, no amount of color correction can put it back.
Exactly. And that was something we realized. So what you do then? I mentioned this small company in Paris. We had that for 25 years, and it's a very egoistic company, because we are there to make things for me when I make movies, and hopefully other people like it as well, so other people use it, and that's how we earn some money to survive. So I called Henrik, the guy that runs Soft Lights, and said, "What can we make this? Can we make an LED that kind of combined the colors needed to simulate a flame?" So we started to do that half year before we started shooting. And we came up with something. We had this. How we did it is this way. My daughter was sitting as a model, and we had a real flame on one side of her face, and we had LEDs in different combinations on the other side. And then we went into a color grading room with Christian Wiberg Nielsen, a colorist, my favorite colorist. And we were going back and forth until he said, "Okay, I can't see the difference. No, I can twist and work on both sides of the skin, and they look the same, and I can have the same possibilities." Then we locked the LED and said, "Okay, now we have the right amount of LED and the combination of LEDs."
Very effective.
Practical, because you have a camera, you have a result, and it's no kind of nothing in between, no mathematics kind of that.
Kind of important to hold it up and let you see the size of the source and the size of the battery pack. You'll demo that in a little bit.
Yeah, I can do gladly. After spare time, it would be nice to show.
Yeah.
So it was something that we created, and we made our own electronics. So it's kind of a, what do you call it, LED engine. That means it is dedicated for that LED, so you kind of know it's flicker free and everything. But it's also, there is a little thing from Kasambi inside that makes it possible to control it remotely with an app that is free, and it's kind of already existed, so we didn't have to invent an app. And the app kind of is something that you can download, and it's in all languages, so we didn't have to think about that, because half-year development you don't have, or actually 4 months I think we had. You can't, it's the limit of what you can do.
A good shortcut.
Yeah. But you could run 20 of those on set and with your app, and kind of you get...
And change batteries at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's... well, for that shoot, it was working for, I think, an hour.
Yeah.
No, it works for a day. So things have been developing since then. But the idea was, as you see, to get it all inside an existing oil lamp. And the oil lamps have space for oil. That's where we put the batteries and the electronics. And this one you can just take out of the box, and it becomes small enough to put inside instead of the
wick.
The wick, yeah, that's the English word. And yeah, flicker, because the idea was, yeah, we need flicker because that's what you have on those. But what I realized is that you don't want flicker, because if you don't see the source, flicker just disturbs the picture. If you see the source in shot and it's flicker, then it's fine. But if it's outside of shot, you want it to be clean and quiet. So we ended up not using flicker, and there was actually 2-3 scenes where I felt, okay, I need flicker, so I just added that in post. Then in motion tracked the face, and we had some simulated flicker, and that works fine. but most of the shoot was without.
I shot a scene a couple of years, well, 6 or 7 years ago, where we were using a kind of simulated candlelight. And one thing that I discovered that was really, really effective was there was a point in the scene where I blew a fan at the actor and his hair blew around and I flickered at the same time. That happened. And it was very, very effective.
Yeah, then it works because then we see the kind of the logic. But of course you can do flicker, and now it's also you can run it with a CRMX lumen radio inside this one, so then you can do whatever you want with a flicker. So it's all possible. Yeah, we made two versions, one small one and one kind of we call the big one that was kind of this size, and that one we used inside a China ball from IKEA. It was, we're very low key. And my gaffer found this little thing, the white thing you see there. I don't know what it actually is, but it was something that really smoothened the light. And he put that into the China ball, and it was super lightweight, so you can be there for hours without any pain in your arms, running around for the night shoot, especially. And of course, when you have the same technology in two lamps, you get exactly the same color. So that was the beauty, and you know that it fits to the flame, because there were flames at all time, normal flames, so it had to match perfectly. So this is kind of a summary of this. We ended up with 4 different LEDs: amber, lime, deep red, and 2200 Kelvin. Powered by 12 volt, flicker-free electronics. And also there is a little thing inside that kind of makes it possible for you to run bad batteries and good and stronger batteries. It takes 12 volt from the battery itself, so it kind of pumps it up or down to 12 to ensure that it stays stable.
Voltage regulator.
Exactly, that's the word. Thank you.
Can you say something before you go on to the next slide about the lime emitter?
Yeah, what to say? I mean, more than that, it fills the gap, because when you easily, so it's
It fills an important gap in LED spectrum, which you wouldn't intuitively think that's important in flame light.
It is. Of course, not that much maybe, but it had to be there. So yeah, it is. I mean, it's not rocket science to put those together, but for us it was kind of. We tried a lot, and we ended up with those. So we know that those are needed.
Very cool.
This is actually a little film that kind of from a color grader in Paris. Let me see. Just to show.
This shot is lit with 4 candles, and if we want to compare the shots, we can measure the difference between the values that we get from the camera. We can see that on the right it's flame, and on the left candles. So we can notice with this measurement that the difference present mostly in exposure, but not in a hue value. So we can just fix that with a small shape and adjust some exposure. So now they're very similar. Small difference I'm gonna fix with just adjusting more exposure, adding more exposure, and adding more feeder to the shape and blending it a little bit.
Example just to show that
so now we can
the colors
see
are the same, but the
values
levels are different.
The same.
So,
And
of course, this creates much more power than a paraffin lamp, And we also now make them as strips for the candle lights. So that means you can get a very strong light from the candlelight. Not a candlelight, but many candlelights. Let me see. Now I went to. What you see here is the version that is actually now been used for candlelights.
It's very clever.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a small kind of problem, that's a challenge that we have, but when you can't solve it, it's nice to have something to solve it with, even though you don't solve the problems in the world, but there is a...
Well, if you're doing a film that is largely based in candlelight and in flame light, it's not a small problem, it's the problem.
And for me it was the problem, yes, definitely. Yeah, I mean, we are now 5 minutes to 11, and you said maybe we should have Q&A or something before the next, if somebody has any questions.
Yeah. Well, it's free form, so does anyone have any questions? Can't see very well out there.
No.
There's one there.
Yeah.
Do you need this mic? We're sharing a mic.
Hi, I'm Danushka from Estonia, cinematographer. My question is more practical one, like when you're working with the actors with a practical lamp, which is a prop, what was your conversation with the actor? Because I have had experience of nightmare when you give a light as a prop to the actor, if they do not know where to place it and how to hold it. So what was your discussion and what was the outcome?
Yeah, I agree with you. I've been to the same experience several times. But on this film, because the whole film was set, the idea was to shoot the film. Every scene is shot in one take. The whole film, as I said, was supposed to be shot in natural light. So we invited the actors quite early to that idea. So we gave them the light and the source, and they could see themselves with the light and the source. So then they realized that this was a tool for both to look nice in the picture, for me to have a light for the scene, and so forth. So I think it came in as a natural thing for them. But
gave them a little ownership of the scene and the lighting as well.
Exactly, yeah. And I think they liked it because it made. I mean, we could do whatever because we could shoot everywhere because it was natural light. It was no stands, nothing.
There's another question.
Are those LED lights available? The company who has developed it, do they rent it? Or?
Yeah, it is. Even though it's not a... you can go to softlights.com. It's a small little company in Paris, and it's known by everybody in Paris, but not outside because it's not. We are very bad in advertising. This is my biggest advertising for this company today.
Shall we go on?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to say something about the next little section because this is a project that we have a lot in common on. I'll let you introduce it, and then I'll say another thing or two about it. Okay?
Yeah, I can. Also, what I can do is to show this. No. Maybe I should show the trailer first.
Yeah, I think so.
I think there is a trailer, but it's on internet because we couldn't download it. So I'm trying to. Then I had to go.
Internet.
I have a plan on my phone.
While you do that, let me just say a little something. This was a picture that I was supposed to go to Finland to work on. And it was directed by Sinky Lee, Spike Lee's brother, and produced by a nice lady named Anne Carley. And go on, if the trailer will play, let's play it.
Maybe.
So this was a film that I was originally going to shoot. and it was being made in the time of COVID, and about a week before I was supposed to fly out to go to Finland, and Carly, the producer, called me up and she said, there is a lot of COVID here, and I think perhaps you may want to rethink your position on this film. So I did, and I called my good friend John Christian.
Yeah, and I've had COVID, so there's no problem.
I still haven't had COVID.
Yeah, so I mean, this was quite early in the LED days, and I think I never learned that much in so few days in my life before. Because to go into a world of LED like this, where you shoot 95% of the movie inside a small little volume, trying to make it look like real life, it's not easy. And also the company was the first film for them, so they were also very fresh and young, and I realized that I had to make a workflow. I had to kind of invent the whole kind of how to do this, how to reverse engineer the workflow of a normal film, because you have to start with post-production. How to make the volume, the content of the volume.
What we say in LED wall production is fix it in prep.
Yeah, but to make people understand that. People have made films before that, no, we fix that afterward. To see that now I need to have test periods, and we need to see that this is working. And we were working with kids, and they had a limit of, I think, 6 or 7 hours a day in 21 days. That's nothing to shoot a movie. So we knew that those 6-7 hours had to be super prepared, so that we could just shoot. When they came, it had to be no waiting time. So that was interesting. I think what I've heard afterwards is probably the first feature done completely in a LED volume, or 95%.
I think so too. This is several years doing this film that helped you shoot against such a close LED wall, like frost on the windows, like atmosphere, some of those tricks that you used.
Yeah, that was actually very fun, because it was going back in time to the time when we were shooting in-camera effects. A lot of that experience came back. Because what you see is what you get, and if it doesn't work when you see it, it will not work later either. So you have to look at I actually asked for the biggest television they had in town, and so it was a very big television, so I could see the mistakes big.
People are fond of saying that shooting against an LED wall is WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. I like to say that it's WYSI-egg. What you see is all you get.
Yeah, definitely. And that's scary, but it's also good, because you, at least when I give it away from me, I've done my best, and nobody will kind of change it. It will be as it is. So that means even color grading was done on set, most of it, because of the limitations in the colors on the screen. I needed to have colors that I knew was approximately where they should be in post. So we made a good lot, and we had my colorist at all time feeding the wall with the right colors. But back to your question, in a small volume like this, the focus is always a challenge, and very sharp lenses is a challenge. So first I picked the K35, the Canon lenses. They are not super sharp, but very nice for the face, and they forgive a little bit of the challenges that you could maybe come up with a very sharp lens. Also, that we were inside this gondola made it possible for us to always have a layer in between the camera and the volume, with some kind of distortion, and that helps also, because you smoothen up your focus, so you don't see 100% sharp on the background. when we had to go to the background, we put in a green screen and we replaced that part later on, because you can't focus on the LED volume itself.
Not yet, anyway.
No, of course I'm sure it will come. And
Yeah.
what I can say something about is how I kind of prepared myself, because this slides, if we have time, they are kind of, I can go fast through them, but they was made before we started. It was my kind of pitch to the crew and to my director, of course, how I saw this challenge. What do we have to go through to be prepared? So this is kind of what's inside this box. It was shot in Helsinki, 21 days. Budget was 4 to 6 million, directed and written by Sinky Lee. Let me just go. Yeah, this is Sinky's background. So that's where the story came from. It's some stories that he'd been collecting from his childhood that was put into the story. And it's all about being alone up in a very small space. And we wanted to look like reality, not like, also, it had to feel like real as possible. So we went into what kind of movies did we like that kind of give us the same feeling, and we ended up also saying that, okay, we had to shoot this handheld. Because it will give us freedom to shoot the kids in a way that they kind of, because they were kids, they were all over. So to get this spontaneous kind of performance, I needed to be there with the camera. And then I realized that I couldn't do this myself. Normally I shoot everything myself, but I also have a friend, Martin Otterbeck, that is a very good operator. I think he is better than me. I don't say that it's not, but he is much better than me as an operator for handheld. And he was there inside at all time with the kids, and it gave us a lot of freedom, because I needed to be behind this big monitor, because if you are not away from your pictures, it's hard to see the mistakes and that it doesn't work. When you're inside with the camera, you don't pick it up, because you are with the element, and it's harder to kind of...
You have to resist the temptation of falling in love with your images.
Yes,
you have
exactly.
to be your own biggest critic, and you have to play professional, what's wrong with this picture?
Exactly. And yeah, so he had to be inside, and I was outside with this very big TV monitor, and of course some calibrated ones on the side. The film takes place daytime, afternoon, night, northern light, early morning. So there's a lot of different kind of light situations, and I needed to find out how to light this in a way so that I could kind of so you could feel that you would still see the faces even though it's dark. That's how we invented this idea with the light sticks, for instance. Camera angles, how to shoot this film, something we went through. Colors, we wanted to present the two kind of the opening and the ending of the movie in a very different way than the actual story. So, and we did that with color, especially, and the way the camera behaves. How to present eyes in a place where it's not minus degrees. That was also a big challenge. I wanted to be. I asked them actually to create minus degrees Celsius inside the volume. And we started we put in a lot of some, what do you call machines that makes it cold?
Air conditioners.
Yeah, very expensive, and they made it. Took it down. It was winter, so we could also use the doors and keep them open until the last minute. But it never became minus, and we also realized that the volume didn't like minus degrees, and they were also heating up the room. So it was something we couldn't win. But to be there as kids in warm clothes in a warm room, I knew that that was not going to be nice. So at least we got it down to a temperature that was that felt cold. But everything that is ice had to be created artificially. And that's so especially for people coming from Norway and up in the north, ice is always, it looks horrible normally on film because it's very hard to simulate real ice, and so for me it was maybe the most scary thing to try to convince people about ice when it's plastic and everything else. So we had to dig into that and how to make it as good as possible. Yeah, I don't want you to read all this because we'll never have time to do anything else, so I will go fast through this page.
Yeah, because I think we have, 18 minutes left?
Yeah.
Do we want to leave some room for questions?
Yeah, so I will go fast through this.
Okay.
One question that came up, how to make this cable car look real when it's kind of hanging in the air, and we came up with this solution, but we ended up with that solution, much easier, because he got a very low cost rent for this. It's a car that could hang it, so we could actually move it around in the studio. So, but I needed one point to hang it in, so it can you get that
pendulum.
Yeah, feeling. I simulated the angles in 3D to be sure that I could do the shots inside the volume, because I didn't want the camera to be outside, except when we had certain things like the top shots and things like that. But to be able to feel that you are inside a very small space, I think it's important to don't pass that wall with the camera. So that's why I simulated this in 3D with different lenses to be sure that we could do this. Yeah, of course, this is challenges that you have in a volume. You can read this later on, but it's things that you need to test before you start shooting. If not, you can get them on the day, and that takes time to solve. And it's quite a long list. That's why I wanted 3 weeks. We got 1 week with the full crew, just doing tests. And that was very useful and very needed. As you see, the studio is very small, so we had to create the production design based on the room, and there was columns in the studio. We had to use those columns as a part of the decoration. Stupid, but how it was. Yeah, this is something that you are not used to if you don't go into a LED volume, the brain bar. It's a lot of people sitting there, and many of those, actually none of them had been on a film set before, and they actually know in the studio, and they are very important. So how to make them into your family and make them as a part of the film production. That was also something very important.
And the language of the brain bar is different than the language of filmmakers.
Yes. So the whole culture was something that we had to be prepared for, and that preparation week of 1 week was also important for that, to make them feel comfortable and on board into, because the crew was experienced crew. The film crew itself, they've done film for 30 years, so they knew how to make a movie. So it's easy that the brain bar could feel like, who are we? But they are also important and very important, so they had to feel that they are invited into the family. Yes, there's a little movie just showing you how we shot some of the content for the volume. This is in Norway. This is the place that we kind of ended up being where the gondola is going. We kind of simulated a roof from down there. It's just beside where there is a gondola going up. So this is the mountain, and on the right side you see the actual gondola today going down, but we made this as our path. And we had 3 cameras shooting 180 degrees, and when we turned around and we did the same trip. So we had 360 degrees. calibration, very important, and the look throughout the whole production from camera to final result, very important to go through all this. Talking about light, when you have soft lights, and I wanted to have these big sources in the ceiling, we created actually this, what do you call this? Grid, no.
Yeah, a grid light.
A grid, yes, but they were very big and they had to be horizontally in the ceiling without being both. So that was created by the gaffer, very smart done, and they were working perfectly. So, and actually that's.
I was the gaffer on Arga. It was a super challenging project from the get-go, but also super interesting and fun because I love technical challenges like this. The equipment list was rather small. We had like 6 Vortex 4s in the ceiling in softboxes and also 32 Titan tubes coming through 250 diffusion in the back. And on the floor we had some Vortex 8s, usually bounced, some more Titans and Helioses, some DMG Dash, an Airstar Neo 4.4. One of our main challenges was when we replaced the ceiling LEDs with our softboxes in the Vortex 4s. We needed to control the spill light to the back wall. Well, we couldn't use ordinary grids because there was no way to angle the softboxes properly, so we ended up building our own 45-degree angled louvers out of lightweight foam core, and it worked quite well. The other major issue we had was the reflections in the plexiglass windows of the gondola, especially the rounded corner ones, which means that we couldn't really have any lighting equipment on the window level. Everything had to be either above or below. So one great tool to overcome this was the Airstar Neo, a 4.4 meter air-filled LED tube that gave us a quite large surface area while still being somewhat shallow, so we could fit it right above the window line and give us quite soft light. All our lights were controlled by our Kansas console because we needed to make real-time changes when the camera was spinning around and the background was spinning. We needed to kind of virtually spin our lighting with them. And also because we had quite a lot of effects we needed to make, like the Northern Lights. That was a big one. At first, we thought about using the actual Northern Light footage, but it came very soon apparent that the footage wasn't saturated enough. So I used pixel mapping software called MadMapper instead. There we could tweak the colors, the speed and the intensity of the effect as we liked, and it worked really good. Usually the pixel mapping was done on the asteras and the ceiling vortexes, but sometimes even with the floor kit. There was one way to get ambient light into the set without it being in the reflections, and that was using pieces of LED wall on wheels. We called them dollies. And Markus from Fireframe, he made us a remote control app that we could remotely control the dimming, the color temperature, the tint, and even the hue of the wall pieces from an iPad, and that was great. Then there were the glow sticks, and they were fun. We had a lot of practical glow sticks on set, but then we also needed something that could give a little bit more punch and also something that we could control remotely. So we took the insides out of several of these sticks and put some tungsten LED strip with moss green and half CTO on them, so that we could quite accurately match the spectrum of the real ones. Because sometimes we needed to have the real ones and our LED ones in the same shot. But yeah, that worked, and it gave us the ability to dim them down on a cue in shot in camera. For a fire effect, we used regular big tungsten bulbs, like 150 to 200 watt bulbs, bundled together and ran through a dimmer with low levels and a flicker effect. And that gave us a really convincing and organic looking flame effect. It looked good on their skins, on the active skins. Overall, I feel like it's very intuitive to work in a LED volume, because you can react to the little nuances in the background, much like in the real world, and opposed to working with green screen.
Most of it's, I mean, this is so much text that you can read it, but it's kind of boring to explain. But I think I've been going through most of it. The limit color space, what you see is what you get on set dailies. I didn't talk about that. Because for me, that's a big thing. I love to have dailies that kind of comes immediately. For me, it's a way of sharing to the crew, and that this is what we are doing, and see it in context. So that's also why I have developed my own dailies app called DryLab, but that's another story. But for me, it's very important to have that possibility to feel that we are doing this. This is the movie we are doing, so everybody can watch and follow the process. It helps a lot. It's a lot of questions they don't have to ask you, because they can see it themselves. Yeah, Martin I told about, he's my favorite operator for especially handheld. Amazing guy. And of course, when you shoot a film, you need a good coffee, so that's always on set. And yeah, that's it. But what you said, if you want, I can show you this one. See that is working, so that you hopefully. This is the flame. Going back to the first thing we talked about today, and it's hopefully connected if I find the app. And this is the light I have, and I can dim it up and down. That's easy as that. And you can also adjust it into flicker and make things out of it. And you can combine other colors if you like, because this is the preset color. But of course, if you like it to be much more greener or more reddish, you can do that. Actually, we made some setups, some LUTs kind of things that works best for the different kind of cameras. So we have one Arri kind of setup and one Sony setup, because different cameras like different colors. And if time's allow, we can have some Q&A if there are any.